And we're hot. There's a mess here on the bench. Uh, Gotta get this cleaned off. I got a mess on the floor. Again, I found myself, I'm trying to unbury myself. So, and of course, Nikki just commented. Let's see if we get him on. I'm just going to say, yep, I'm on now. Who's here? 3 people. So, for those people that haven't watched before, it's much more fun to join live. Kind of boring if you're watching this after. Good time to hang out, which is really what we're doing. SMS NC20 just got the cylinder off of 385. Okay. Hey, Pat, James, Nikki. Yes, I'm live. All right, now we gotta put that back up there. Oh, hey, William. Yeah, we got a brand new 394, 395 crankcase to assemble tonight. Brandy spanking new. And I think this build is going to get a little out of hand. Hey, John. I think the build is going to get a little out of hand. And you'll see what I mean in just a minute. The thing is, when you start out with a brand new set of crankcases, you have to start asking yourself, what else do I need, on the build? Sorry, Nikki. I really just haven't been myself. Kind of a problem. And I don't know. I got all kinds of craziness going. So I'm trying to. Well, let's see. The thing is, I got a brand new crankcase. I happen to have a brand new gas tank too. And the one thing that nobody will see or care about, how about a brand new old stock flywheel for 394. This even has the magnet protector still on it. Look at that. So, like I said, price-wise, this build is going to get out of hand. Haven't been myself since getting married. I get you. Got a 390 top end from Wolf Creek. New bearings and seals. Cylinder piston look good. Probably still replace. If the cylinder and piston look good, then throw some new rings on there, man. On an OEM head. On an OEM, if you have an OEM head on a 385, just throw some new rings on there, man. Rather than get the aftermarket head. The aftermarket 390 head. The 385 heads run real nice. There's really no need to screw with them if it's a good head and piston. Speaking of that, so there's a thread on OPE, and it's interesting. What am I going to say about this? It's not about me, although it could be. It could be. I can see it eventually going there, but it's not first and foremost about me. It's about Iron Horse, and yeah, it's interesting. So there was a thread a little while ago. Somebody brought up Iron Horse, and you have to understand, I'm not familiar with Harvey. I don't know what he does. I don't typically get to watch a lot of fellow YouTubers, including Human, who was on the other night. I just don't get to watch fellow YouTubers that much. I I worked today till 1 o'clock and basically stayed in bed for a number of hours until now. So I'm just not necessarily up on some of these guys. Um, Overall, I will say I believe that a lot of the professional porters, the guys that do this for a living, that's not me. That does not include me, okay? I do this for fun, not to make a living. The guys that are professional porters that do this sort of stuff as a living, okay? As, they have standard fees that they charge, all that stuff. It always seems to come back around to a certain price point for a certain product. And so shipping kind of throws a monkey wrench in the whole thing because shipping can be pretty pricey, but all this stuff tends to come back to the $300 port job, okay? So my point in the whole thing is, okay, if you're spending X amount of dollars, whatever it is, 300, 500, 1,000, whatever it is, what are you getting for the work? And I think it needs to be sort of standardized by the community in a sense of, I think that it's important to have roughly a standard fee that outside of which something has to send flags up. Now, overall, I think the guys that do it for a living charge too little for what they do. I've been on I've built a lot of saws now, but if I've built maybe 100 chainsaws at this point, that's still nowhere close to, I think Mastermind is somewhere around 2,000, right? I have no idea what Scott Tree Monkey is up to as far as numbers, but it's got to be up there. I don't know what Canadian Farm Boy does, how many he does, but he does really nice work. I don't know how many Doc Al does. Doc Al doesn't do it for a living, okay, but he still does very nice work. I don't know how many Rattler does. Jason Egan, Jason is a bit of an anomaly because he's not on the forums. But he's definitely doing it for a living, and just from what I've seen, it looks pretty nice. What I'd like to do with Jason eventually is to do some type of collaboration. Right now I happen to have my go-to guy to do stuff is Rattler in North Carolina. Just so everybody here knows, somebody from across the pond, hello. Just so everybody knows, my go-to guy is Rattler in the Carolinas. He does, as far as I'm concerned, top shelf work. For stuff that I don't want to get into, he does it. Like I don't want to. If I need the base cut and the squish band cut, it's just easier to send it down to him and have him do it. And I don't know what your name is, but hello, whoever you are. So, I'd like to work with Jason too. He seems like I spoke with him the other evening. He seems like a top shelf, trying his level best kind of a guy, which is exactly what I'm after, So that said, back to the thread on Iron Horse. Apparently, the issue is that one of the saw, always some saw from somebody ends up back on somebody else's bench and needs to get rebuilt, and somebody paid too much money, and now we have a thread on it. And it's like, oh Lord, now what do we do? So, I think a lot of people I think the transparency isn't there. I think you're from Korea. Okay, welcome. Taiwan, did I say that right? Taiwan from Korea. Hello. From Farmington, Connecticut in the USA. You're in Central North Carolina. Where is he? I forget where Rattler is. You can contact him on the forums. Just contact Rattler if you need something done. Jeep Woods Fun, hello. Right now we're just talking about a particular thread on OPE and kind of my opinion on it. I think there's a lack of transparency in general from, I think its tendency is to think, okay, a woods port is a woods port. Not necessarily. Depends on, how many particular persons has done, whatever. What parts are they putting in there? You just don't know. And it kind of comes back to, where's my t-shirt? As is. Buyer beware. If you guys don't know, you don't do your homework, you don't do your research, money flies out the window, and then we end up with a 1,000-page thread on OPE about it. So it does come back down to, I think, figuring out what you're getting for your money. I do tend to think there needs to be more transparency in the entire chainsaw industry, really. I don't know if it's going to happen, but it says it all in 4 letters. I know it. I often see videos of people and are learning a lot. Yeah, what did Iron Horse do? So the problem is this is 13th hand information, but the thread was about one of the top builders at OPE got a saw from a guy that wasn't happy for whatever reason, and found out that Iron Horse had charged essentially $400. Again, 13th hand information, so you guys have to read the thread yourself and make your own judgments. The charge was $400 for the port job and $200 for the aftermarket cylinder head. It was a highway head, and apparently the next builder put an OEM head on it, of course, and probably did a proper port job. Apparently the port work that was done by Iron Horse led to low compression, and he did no upper or lower transfer work, just a little bit to the intake and exhaust, and didn't bevel things properly. Hey, Leonard. You're also an engineer, do business in Korea. Wonderful. So that's where the thread started. And my point was, okay, in dentistry we call it standard of care, A filling has certain attributes that make it a standard of care filling. A crown has certain attributes that make it a standard of care crown. I think, generally speaking, when people expect a woods port, they kind of expect this, okay? And this is, to my understanding, I got this off John Riley. This is a Eric Copsey ported 394. So, this right here is pretty darn close to the definition of what people expect when you are getting a woods port job, at least as far as the head goes. Any other modifications on the saw, who knows? But this is kind of what people expect. Let me get a light here. Hang on. So I think expectations. If you're not doing your due diligence, then you don't know what standard of care is. Okay. Husky 268. This is not my port work. Again, this is Eric Copsey, and I'm not familiar with Eric personally. I do not know his work, but it is my understanding that he's been doing it for a while. And forgive me for the poor lighting. So, a widened exhaust, okay, beveled so it's smooth. You can put your thumb down on here, beveled so it's smooth, okay. And There are formulas for widening the exhaust and all that stuff. Um, Upper transfer work, okay. And some people do the lowers, some people don't. I would do the lowers, but I'm gonna. This is his head. I'm gonna leave it like this because supposedly it ran pretty good. Personally, the intake is a little wide for me, and not quite square enough. But again, I'm gonna leave this again because it supposedly ran pretty nice. And we're gonna throw this on a saw and see how it goes. But the base is cut on a lathe. The squish band is cut with a boring bar. The topic you mentioned, Matt, could it be iron reworked a saw and complemented the previous builder at the intro from about 2 months ago? It was a 390, Nicky. I don't know. I don't know if it's that one. All I know is that there's a thread about it, and it seems to me, well, Eric, my understanding is Eric is a pretty well-known builder. Eric Copsey is a well-known builder. This is the type of thing you expect from a well-known builder, right? You have certain expectations. Some people just throw money at something without expectations. I think that's kind of silly. That's kind of a mistake. Yeah, I think the prices were outside. I think the prices were outside the realm of expected, and I think the amount of work was done was less than expected. So you have two issues that, it starts to ding you. So, again, personally, I think that the pro builders are charging too little for what they do. The guys that really do their level best and give a reasonable product, I think they're charging too little for what they do. So that's been my feeling for a long time. I've worked on a lot of saws, making money on saws. Just in general doesn't happen. Jonathan's here. He just got a saw. Can't say I made a dime on it. Maybe I did. I don't know. Possibly not. It took a lot. It takes a lot of money to build these darn things. I'll tell you what. Be nice if I was making money hand over fist here, but it's just not the case. So I feel for the builders, for the porters, these guys that are doing their best work, and they're probably doing it at a really more than fair price, and then you end up with controversy. Glad you like it, Jonathan. That's interesting on a squish band. Did a 372. My uncle shaved the cylinder, same specs as oriented, so it has a gasket. I put a smoke machine on it and leaked without the gasket. Well, you need sealer in there. It's true, Pat. I'm having fun. Hang on a second. I want to thank everybody. This is a kick. I don't usually show my face because it's not about me, right? It's just not. I really want to thank you guys. It's been a really long day, and forgive me for this, but it's really been a long day. But I have a kick with you guys. This is fun, and I hope that you guys are having fun too. And I'm going to try to show you what I've learned, which is maybe not standard of care, but it's what I've learned, and I'm continuing to learn, and you guys are on a journey with me, and I appreciate that. I really do. So hang out, have fun. If you got questions, ask. There are plenty of people on here that come, that watch, that hang out, that can absolutely answer questions even beyond what I can answer. So Um, I wanna learn and have fun and try my level best. And what you guys are gonna see is my level best, and that's all I can offer. That's all I can offer, and that's all that anybody can offer. We gotta avoid sloppy. Sloppy. No. No sloppy. Okay. Gotta avoid sloppy. Let's not do that. Let's have fun. So, thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out. Dave Prosper, you guys are all welcome, and I really, really, really appreciate it. And again, I've had a bit of a long day. Let's have so much fun and see if we can learn something together. Okay, guys. So, this has been such a kick, and what an adventure. I've got a whole pile of metal outside right now, threaded rod, ready to make a whole pile of more tools. I've got my machinist primed to make more tools. If anybody needs tools, they can shoot me an email, of course. And let's build a super sweet 394. This is going to be fun. Dimas and Moraes, welcome. Yes, you guys can poke at me plenty. So, anyway, my dirty shirt and everything. Okay, here we go. Husky Tuesday, you're welcome. Yeah, it's not about me. It's about the bench, what's on the bench, having fun with what's on the bench. So, I saw a human yesterday. He gave me a shout out. I thought that was cool. He's out there splitting wood, that guy. Just wanting for nice weather. Just wants some nice weather. Okay. I gotta put all this stuff somewhere. Figure out how to get a dang crankcase together, right? I preach the toolkit that they want to listen. Great. Learned a lot from you. Thanks a lot. You'll start doing way more. Yeah, if you can get some ambition, that's great, And Matt just did a 200T. Fantastic. If I can give some real average folks some ambition, I think it makes this a whole lot more fun, And we learn together. And if you make a mistake, guess what? It's just a chainsaw. It's just a saw. Now what have we got here? Oh heck, I don't know. 394 parts, maybe? 4 parts. That's the Copsy top end. Thing. Clang. Okay. Head bolts. Oh, I could use that. Ooh. These are gold. The AV buffers for the front of the 394. 395 359 back together. Got the second one turned in. A 45. Nice, Jonathan. Love your stuff, Matt. Thank you. Just straight up. Thanks, Husky268. Thank you. Appreciate that. That kid is so amazing. Worth more than it costs. I don't think Human's here tonight. He was the other night, and he dragged a whole pile of people with him, frankly. He brought a whole pile of people with him, which was fun. I think these are too long. You need a 3120. I haven't gotten to it. Nothing wrong with it, but certainly think I could. Yeah, this 394 project is gonna get out of hand. You guys are gonna see. It's gonna get completely nuts. I'm gonna have to put new this and new that and new this and new that on it just cause. Alright. Where's my fish? We got to work on this before we work on the crankcase. So we've got, this is actually a 181 crank or 288 crank, but it doesn't matter. Um, as long as it's clean, it works for 394 also just fine. They're the same crank effectively. Yeah, look at the Scotch-Brite here. On the bearing lands. And that shines that up nice. The crank is not cheap here either. Yeah, the 272 stuff doesn't tend to be quite as pricey because it's got pretty good aftermarket coverage. So it was still kind of pricey to put that 272 together, but still. Actually, to go back and mention, so Jason Egan, like I said, I think is a pretty top shelf guy, but I have not worked directly with him. So what I'd like to do is eventually get to work directly with him, and if I can do that, then I can show you guys what he's got going, and then we can have, add somebody else to the list that is doing their level best, Hey, I noticed that there's 2 clutches. No, I don't think they'll fit. I think they're 268 instead. I don't think they'll fit. They look a lot like 394, but no. 394 and 288. I think the 288 clutch is the same. Looks pretty doggone clean to me. Now this still has the Woodruff key here. Pop that out. Don't want to lose that. Little Scotch-Brite on the taper. See, one of the differences between the pro porters and what I do is that a lot of those guys don't do a lot of like scratch builds. They do some, no question, but I mainly do from scratch builds. So I'm taking saws that are either like brand spanking new, like parts that are new, or I'm taking stuff that's completely dragged behind a truck and trying to make it shiny like this. Who doesn't like that, huh? Who doesn't like that? You gotta like that. Okay, so PTO side. All I'm going to do is I'm going to degrease the surface here. All I'm going to do. So brand new case halves, brand new OEM original case halves. These will become available aftermarket. I know. Hey Andrew. I know that Huzzle is working on 395 case halves. Just trying to think. I think we should just pull the crank together. Crank right through. That's what I think. So you put the crank in, basically as far as it'll go. I'm going to put this to the side for the moment. Let's get some crank tools. So you need an M12 rod. Here. Where's my... Oh, don't do that. That's right, I've got more positioning pins if I need them. Big money for the cases? Yeah, $200. So like I said, this build is going to get out of hand in a hurry. The head, the ported head, it's already ported. The ported head is $200 by itself. This is a fresh rod right from the machine shop, so doesn't need to go fully down. We put the rod on. Gonna grab a large sleeve. That goes right in. Now, per usual, if anybody wants this toolkit, they can email me. Put the handle in. Wait a minute. Somebody give me bigger than average hand. There we go. Fine. 3/8. Kit break-in is what I mean. Handle goes there. Washer and nut. That's all that is. Now, the difference between the Husky OEM tools and this is that this hand is free, so that you can guide the connecting rod and just nice with a ratcheting wrench. You can do this with an impact too if you want. I wouldn't, but with a ratcheting wrench, guide this right on home. That's it. Then what you do is you reverse Matt, have you done any Farmertech 440s? Yes. You can look back in my videos. Was not my favorite saw to build. Larry, I think it a stroke. Larry, can you shrug both your shoulders? Not going to do good diagnosis here on the internet, but Shrug your shoulders, stick your tongue out. Does your tongue deviate to the side? So you have to go through all the cranial nerves. Yeah, and going to the hospital tomorrow ain't going to help. If you think you had a stroke, oh God, all right. Larry, if you think you had a stroke, you need to be at the hospital. Going tomorrow morning ain't helping. Just saying. I'll leave it there. Not my area of expertise. And yes, I'll send a prayer for you too, buddy. Okay. Now, some guys do just bare gaskets on these, which you can. I like to use goop. Two hours away means that you're in trouble. Which means you better get going. That will be my official advice as a dentist. Tell you what, guys, a couple weeks ago I ended up with the flu. Holy cow. That knocked me down like a hammer. I can't remember whether I've actually ever had it or not. Just don't remember whether I've ever had the flu or not. Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. This was awful, though. This gets it nice and even. When you tap it, it gets it nice and even. Nice and patinaed, you know? Now, again, I do the flywheel side first, just for procedural reasons, what I will call procedural reasons, because I want that to tack first. This is 3 bonds 1184, in case anybody's wondering. Don't necessarily need to use this, but I like a little bit of goop on my crankcases. Until I see a problem with doing it this way, I will continue to do it this way. Up top here worries me, so a little extra goop up this way. Okay. Hey, Andrew. Kev Berry, how's it going? Haven't seen you in a while. Laptop dying, new Mega Monster in order. Tree surgery for today. Am I building your new saw, Larry? No, I'm pretty sure nobody can afford this one. Is the date marked on the 3-bond tube? I don't see B17F27. No, I don't see a date on here. No. Nope. No expiration date on here. Pyro, looking for a Lombardo chainsaw project. No, the old stuff I'm really not familiar with. Matt, do you have any used parts for the build? How much is sitting on the bench right now? Um, yes, I have used parts for the build, but so this is just the cases alone are $200. Here is a gasket. And now some blue Loctite. Yeah, the coronavirus is no joke. You're right. I think they're a little behind declaring a worldwide emergency on that, like 2 weeks behind. But that's my own personal opinion. All right. I'm not actually. I'm going to do the lower one here, but I'm not going to do the upper. So this is regular old blue Loctite for the crankcase bolts. Now I'm going to get this guy here. So this is the other rod. This is a flywheel side rod. Make sure it's deburred. So this is not going to be a cheap project. This is a very, very expensive project. Certainly one nice thing about the 394 is that it sits here nice. The 372 just is kind of wonky all over the place, but this sits here right nice. Good. I'm going to put this away. I'm going to put this away because I don't need anymore. Large sleeve. Even though it's a small rod, still use the large sleeve. Works fine. And small handle. Again, these are fresh out of the lathe, so it may need to be deburred. Maybe that's not good. The other way. This may actually be. Nope, that's this. Try another one. Yeah, that one's fine. I don't think ordering from China is an issue, but certainly ordering a mail order bride from China might be an issue right now. Who said that? I don't know. The issue for me is that the coronavirus has a significant latency period. So people are infectious for a very long time, yet show no symptoms. Okay. One nice thing about the 1184 is that it really, as far as time goes, it doesn't care. And watch this. This crankcase just gently goes together. Put this right here. Very important to get your positioning pins lined up. But there's no heat. There's no rushing it. You make sure everything's lined up just the way you want it. There's no risk here. It just gently goes together. Make sure underneath everything's good. I'm not grabbing a piece of paper or something like that. And that's it. Done. Yeah, it has a really long latency period where your coronavirus has long latency period where you're not showing symptoms but you are infectious. That's a problem. But that's the tools in a nutshell. That's what they do. Once your bearings are positioned in the crankcases, you just pull everything together. Beautiful. Yeah, I think pretty much everybody in Asia is going to understand pretty quickly how infectious this whole thing is going to be. And I don't think anybody wants to spread it. If you are, it's not a good thing, you know? Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Uh-oh, I'm missing one. That one's too long. 5. There. I have to remember exactly how long that one is too. I don't remember. Okay. Not trying to seat these with the impact. I just want to get them kind of home, you know? Yeah, that one should do. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the anterior 6. Now, we've got one more up here, which we'll go over in a second. Ken's got family stuff going on, so I'm not worried. He's okay. I'm sure he's got family stuff going. Yeah, there's a smudge here in the paint. Not a Concord level build. No, it's missing the oil hole thing. Whatever, doesn't matter. Okay, the long one here. The long one. So this one is that guy. But that is the anterior, one of the anterior dog bolts. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this home, but I really want to put some washers on it first to simulate the thickness of the dog. No Loctite on this. I'm just gonna cinch this one down. Now the reason I don't have Loctite on this is because I want it cinched down, but I want to be able to remove it later because I'm going to need to put the dog on kind of last after I get the muffler on. Kids behave, I got to drop a bomb on my family. Best of luck, James. "24 people watching. Just a crankcase, folks." Okay. Beautiful. Does it get better than that? Pretty nice if you ask me. Okay, let's get some seals in here. Quick. Before we do that, razor blade. Take off the tabs. Good. Pretty flat. Matt, did HL supply the needed case of the? No, well, these have been bought myself. These are my own personal purchase. The crank came from the 288 stuff I was doing, but it's the 288 crank and 394 crank are the same thing. So yeah, it's my own personal build. Does that? I did get the crank. I did get the cases from HL Supply. Yes. What's interesting is these positioning pins have not been drilled out. That's interesting. I guess a lot of the guys just use the upper ones. Whatever. So let's get the seals in. The flywheel side seal on here is tricky. It really is tricky. So let's work on that. Check the rear of case for that through hole to carb bolt. Carb bolt. What are you talking about? Might need drilling. carb base goes on here. That's fine. Those are fine. Positioning bolt goes there. Bushing goes there. Oh, we've got rubber bumper. What goes there? The rubber bumper there's a rubber bumper that goes here. I think one goes there too. It's in the tray? Okay, I won't worry about that for now. Alright, so let's flywheel side seal. So check and make sure the spring's there. It is. Let's get. Make sure this is degreased. Okay. Now we have to measure it. Very important. Have I been tested? Yes, I have. Been thinking about it. About 9.5 millimeters. And this is about 5 millimeters. So this can go no deeper than 4.5 millimeters. We've got to be real careful about that. Good. Now, the Coke can trick. And you slide it on down. Now, the thing about this, you gotta go, again, real easy. Even if you have the OEM have momentum to that seal, it will go down further than you want. I know people have asked me for a long time to make seal drivers. You got to make sure it goes in even too. You drive it 1/2 mil too far, and you're going to be pulling it up. Okay. So now it's down like 2.5, maybe 3 millimeters. Yeah. Pull my Coke can out because it's over the lip more or less. this really is the only way to guarantee you get over that lip. It's the only way. I'd like to drive this down to about 4 millimeters. 3.93, that's pretty good. 3.83. 4.10. 4.0. 3.73. Okay, now we look and see if it's over that lip. Just needs like half a mil. Just kiss it. Just got to be over the lip so it's on the final diameter of the crank, not the taper. 4.25. 4.5, good. 4.0. 4.36. Okay, so not quite deep enough down on this side. That's probably it. Four point 4.27, 4.50. Depending on how and where I measure it. 4.5. Okay, so that's as good as that gets. It's not, it's driven exactly where it needs to be, and the focus is we don't want the rubber up against the bearing and rubbing on the bearing. Okay, Nikki, I'm working on a saw right now, speak. It's a real screamer. Oh, 136. See, these, we don't even need these screws. I don't know why they're here. I know that they're for the generator, but there really is like no point. Don't need them, they're just getting right here. There we go. Ta-da! Okay, these go up with M4 screws. M4 Allen's up there. 5. Okay. That's the one there. This one's a little easier because you just basically put it flush. Again, the same deal as the spring in there. Spring's in, it's fine. Coke can trick here. There's really no big mystery on how to do this one. down flush. Pull your Coke can out. Almost flush. Again, the upper lip on the seal is at the final diameter of the crank, and you've got it made. A little bit of a lip there, it's driving me crazy. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So your seals are in. Guess we get to try that Copsy top end. Actually, no. Don't want to jump ahead of ourselves. Can't do that. Can't do that. This piece of rubber has to go up in here. But you really need rope to do that. Well, I don't know how you define quick, but yeah, quick enough, I suppose. This is just nylon rope. Ideally, you need to have this like wrapped around something. And this ain't easy. I do wish they made this so it was a little bit easier. Hand cramps. Once it starts to go, it just kind of lifts right up in here. My thumb just cramps like crazy. Perfect. Ta-da. Just nylon rope and wrap it around. And that's how the rubber mount gets in there. So many times on so many saws, look at a 394. You know, when you're buying 394s, is this mount there or is this cracked off? You know, drives me crazy to not have complete saws. It just does. Drives me nuts to not have complete saws. So if you are buying a 394 and it's got pieces missing, assume that somebody's kicked it around a bit. And then drop the price accordingly. Like, frankly, a lot. You know? Some people want some premium bucks. You assemble the rubber by heating it. Okay. It's hard to snake it through that hole, I'll admit. It's not easy to snake it. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, shucks. Where did that go? I guess it's gone. Okay. Here's the other mount. Good news is I have a M5 nut. That'll go on there. That'll be fine. Somewhere. M5 lock nut. These are good. You know what? Ooh. Right. This has the front guard. That's 288. Don't know if I have a front guard sitting around. I know I've got them out in the shed. I don't know if I've got one. Oh, there he is. Oh, great. Some of these might as well buy new. Yeah, I know. Nikki, just so you know, Andrew is my... oh, not Andrew Slagle. Andrew Olson is my cousin. In case anybody sees him on here. Hey, Mega. So here's the front guard, which came on later model 394s, like 1997 and up, I think. And then I think on every 395. Man, that guard looks a little rusty. I won't put this on yet. Let's hit that with a little paint. Maggie, you're not having more dental work, are you? You know what? Maybe we should just shine it up. What do you think? Just shine it? Rather than paint it? Maybe just shine it. How do we do that? Yeah, that's gonna look good. Oh, battery really low. So hang on, let me switch. So when I lose you guys, I'm gonna lose you for reals. Larry's gone to hospital. He left and went? Good. Oh, I know. I can do this last. Yeah, we thought you went, Larry. We were hoping. That looks better. And those are both through-hole bolts, so they definitely need some Loctite in them. Let's see what kind of bolts do I want there. This is just 8mm here. I'd say we're doing pretty good. Actually, I saw a guy in the hospital, checked for a stroke. Turns out he had a toothache because his face was all droopy. The thing is, you got to get checked out, and you don't know what it could be. All right, let's start to put some of this stuff away because this is getting a little clogged. What time is it? 8:09. Not too bad. Yeah, a little tight with the seals in there. Just hit it with some lubrication and Run a little bit, and it'll be loose as a goose. So should we see if that the head fits? Let's see. You never know, Larry. Could have a friggin' toothache and not know it. Seen it happen. Hopefully somebody at the hospital knows something about teeth. As well as whatever else you got going, you know. Pin bearing. Now, I have no idea if this thing takes a gasket or not. Let's see if we have a head slapper right off the bat. I feel something. So let's throw a gasket in there. See what we end up with for squish. Yeah, this is the Riley head. So let's see, what are we looking at for money here? $200 for the crankcase by itself. Then we got the crank, the seals, and the head here. The head by itself is another $200. So, like I said in the beginning of the video, this is going to get out of hand. If anybody wants this saw, please let me know. Hey, Lim. Did you come back to buy this? If you're interested, let me know. This case has not been machined, no. One thing you don't need is another knife. It's a good problem to have, though, William. You know? Not head slapper there. Feels okay. Oh, here's my solder here. Again, brandy new flywheel. It even has the guard on it here. So the thing about flywheels is you can't get these anymore. I'm just going to throw that out actually. The 394 flywheels are no longer made. Okay, well that's going to be consistent and tight. Where'd my micrometer go? It's under here somewhere probably. Mike, where'd you go? Let's throw some of this stuff back to the fish here. That. Where's my darn mic? Just so you guys know, I got plenty of mics, but I want this one. I want to use it. Never fear, I have plenty of mics. That's not good. Something get inside this. That doesn't feel right. Why is my mic suddenly so stiff? Later, Andy. That's one of the darn weirdest things ever. Why is the micrometer so stiff? Got some 1184 on it, so what? That's just weird. It's just not smooth. It's always been smooth. I remember hitting it, dropping it, anything like that. Feels awful. That's awful. You know what? I'm going to bring that down to my brother and see if he can fiddle with it. Let's get out the other one. About 23,000 squish. 21,000 there. Okay, that's certainly close enough. What I'm doing, clamp it down a little bit, it'll be about 20. Okay. So that's pretty much bolt on ready, I would say. Bolt it down. Why not? Yeah, somewhere between 21 and 23, depending on where you measured it. So that's fine. I'm not going to try to screw with it beyond that. Let's get rid of that guy for the moment. This is 3/16. That's the one. That's the baby. Pull this off. Make sure it's nice and clean. A little bit of goop on here. Let's get rid of that. Shiny metal there. You know what I do want to see? I think I'll clean up this piston too, but one thing I wanted to see. I guess the skirt closes on both sides. It looked awfully close to me, but okay. No, I don't have my hot pants on. Sorry. Same thing with the base here. Just nice and clean. Should give this a quick wash too. Let's pull the piston off. carbon on them. Back. Sorry. Just cleaning up the piston a little bit here with brake cleaner. Just don't want to leave tons of carbon on here. It'll build up anyway. So, that's fine. Okay. And these were the rings he had in there. And since they have like 223 pounds of compression, I think I'm going to keep them. Don't necessarily think. Yeah, finish work. Yeah, I don't know about finish. So I'm going to put the rings in here. Okay. Let me give the head a wash. I give this just a quick wash. Right back. Hey, Hamby, what's going on? Haven't seen you in a bit. Welcome back, Nikki. Nikki, you're supposed to be in bed. Just saying. All right. So let's do. Usually can't make live streams. Well, welcome. You're certainly welcome. There's Mega. Look out. Blue Loctite on here. I am not going to use goop on this gasket. Just going to leave it. Now, it is a whole lot easier to do this with the intake block already installed. But for now, I'm just going to get this cylinder head on. Just because. Okay. And I'm going to... Usually the second ring is the hardest on these. I'm going to put the rings in the head. First. Good. There's one. And make sure your ring lands are facing towards the intake. There. So, what would it be like with a single ring? Oh, screen is not clear. Hang on. Is that better? I don't know. Single ring? I don't know. The thing with the 394, they make the ring lands really funny. The 395 is much closer to center, which makes more sense to me. But the 394 pistons, for whatever reason, are the ring lands are like off here. The locating pins are off there. I don't know why. It's how they do it, you know. What are you supposed to say? Right. Where is piston pin? Where'd that go? I don't know. It was here a second ago. Here it is. This whole thing gets like filled with WD-40. Why? Because it's convenient. And all you need is just to get it over the initial startup. And once it's over the initial startup, it runs on just fine on regular old mix. Right? Good. Okay. Let's get one of the clips in here. Now let's see here. I happen to have a goodly amount of 395 OEM clips. 394, whatever. No, there is a difference between pistons. There is most definitely a difference between pistons. I think the skirts on the 395 piston are slightly shorter, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. All right, one clip is in. All right, we're Loctited up, lubed up. Top dead center virtually, just for ease here. The circlip is in the groove and just fine. So we'll get the second circlip in. Move it all the way down to the bottom. you got circlets properly in the groove, rings properly in. Piston goes to bottom dead center just for ease again. And then very slowly. The rings are hooking a little bit on that intake. Let's see if I can just press on it. Where's my... Oh, doesn't work. So if the rings hook on the intake, the whole thing's not going to seat. There we go. That's one. There we go. Done. And the rings, all they have to do, they have to go past just once, you know? They have to go past the intake just once. As long as they go past, it'll be fine. There's one bolt. And then we have bolt number 2. The Loctite's already down in the holes here. That's 2. Always lots of these head bolts. Quarter 20s. So now I put them down by hand. 1, 2. Hey, Tim. Hey, Jeffrey. Anybody here I didn't give a shout out to? So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Take our decomp here and turn her down. That's it. Nice and smooth. All right. I'm missing a few pieces here, so this might be it for the night, I would say. I think tomorrow maybe we'll focus on the 372. We'll go back to that because I got to put that together because I got the crankcase over there. I'm missing a few pieces here, which also means I got to put a goodie bag for Dustin together so that I can get him to swap me some of the parts that I need for this build. Jeepers, that's tight. So, while we're at it here, let's get a little lubrication going. here, especially on the rings. Coat the whole darn thing. That way the cylinder's got something to start with as far as lubrication goes. Beautiful. So, Jonathan, thanks so much. Hey, Nikki, you here till the end. Those from Korea, thanks so much for hanging out. I do appreciate it. Everybody, thanks so much for hanging out. This has been a kick. It's been fun. This is going to be quite a saw. This 394 is going to be quite a saw, I think. So I got to get some parts for it. Got to get some more parts. Got to get some new parts. It's going to be a job. But anybody's interested, please let me know. It will be. James never gets a shout out. Of course, James, you always get a shout out because I always mention you and Ken for thanks for moderating. And I know Ken's not here tonight, but thank you to James and Ken for moderating. Do appreciate it. Ken's not here tonight, so thank you to James for hanging in. And everybody say a prayer for Larry. That would be most appreciated. I don't know what's going on with him. Need to get into my 395 one of these days. Thanks for the show. No problem, Kenneth. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Everybody have a good night. Be safe. I'll be on tomorrow. We'll do something. We'll hang out again. We got to work on that 372, and I got to pack up some stuff for Dustin. Take care, guys. Have a great night. Be safe, all.